to Charm Chats. Oodly booper. Welcome to Charm Chats with Kendra.
And Kat. Oh, God, every time you get me with the silly ones. Every time.
Apparently I got blue, too.
Hi, Blue. Go to bed.
Go sleeps.
We are on episode 413,
Charmed and Dangerous.
This one aired on February 7th, 2002. I was trying to say 2002, and that just didn't come out properly.
No, it didn't.
No, it didn't. It is, of course, a play on Armed and Dangerous, which, you know, if you don't know what that is, look it up your damn self.
Yeah.
I'm not your mother. No. Anyway.
No, you're just Tangent Mom.
I am Tangent Mom.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm okay with that.
I'm Pun Mom.
You are Pun Mom.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Also Dog Mom.
Yes.
I have that magnet on my car.
You.
Anyway,
Let's get right into it.
We start off with Phoebe and Paige carrying a seemingly unconscious Piper into the attic. She's got, like, scratches and abrasions all over her face. They put her on the floor pretty far in, and then they sit on either side of her.
Paige is in jeans and a black lace top with her hair down. She's also got a large necklace that's like a brooch of a woman's silhouette, and it's being held around her neck by a red ribbon. Phoebe is in red pants and a shiny white shirt.
That's like ruched at the elbows and the waist.
Yeah, it's
a weird satiny blouse.
Yeah.
And it's kind of got belly sleeves-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah, where it's not ruched.
It's an odd shirt.
I like it.
It's not bad, but it's an odd shirt. Her hair is in pigtail braids tied by a red leather cord. Piper is in dark brown pants and a red V-neck shirt, and her hair is down.
Phoebe is trying to get Piper to respond. Paige wonders if they should call Leo, but Phoebe thinks they can still make their plan work. Just then, the Source flames in, walks slowly over to the girls.
This time, the Source is played by Peter Woodward. He was born in 1956 in London, and he's got 70 acting credits so far, starting back in 1968.
Mm-hmm. He tells them to say hello to Prue for him as I hesitate to call it a ball of fire. It's more like a wind sculpture in your backyard.
Filled with fire?
Like, okay. So
it had a bit of structure to it.
If any of you recall the time turner from Harry Potter, take out the hourglass in the middle and there's a bunch of rotating rings, like all rotating different directions. Yeah. That's kind of what it looks like, but they're all on fire.
Yes.
And kind of look like they're made out of rope. Actually, hang on. I think there's a bit in Game of Thrones, the Game of Thrones opening, that looks like that. A little bit.
I will take your word on that.
I stopped watching in, like, season 2. I don't care.
I have only ever seen the first episode. I got to the last 5 minutes and went, I don't need this kind of drama in my life, and haven't gone back.
Yep.
So,
I'm very happy that we're now entering the last season. Because now I don't have to hear about it a whole lot.
Good.
Once it's done.
Yeah. Anyway,
he throws this ringy orb fire at Paige, but she orbs out before it can hit her, so it hits a random vase instead. Piper gains consciousness, Phoebe yells at her, and Piper blows up the Source into little bitty black balls of energy.
Unfortunately, he pops right back into form. Paige calls for crystals to form a circle around him, and the crystals on the table orb out and then back in on the floor in a circle surrounding the Source. 4 electric bolts, surround him, and he is contained. He tries to throw his little fireball thing, and it rebounds off of the electric bolts, making him vanquish himself.
More like off of the membrane between them.
Yeah,
he went a little in flame in the membrane.
Jesus Christ, yes. Nice.
Thank you.
Nice.
Anyway.
Actually, I'm going to give you a high five for that one. Nice.
Yeah.
Cut
to the underground. The Source and a black woman in red robes, who we will eventually learn is the Seer, are in that telltale cave of his.
Yeah. The Seer is played by Debbie Morgan, and that's Debbie, D-E-B-B-I. She was born in 1956 in North Carolina. She's got 66 acting credits so far, starting back in 1971. She's been on multiple soap operas and is currently on a crime drama show called Power on the Starz network.
And I believe she was in an episode of Luke Cage. I think I texted you when that happened.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, the seer's eyes are white from looking into the future, but they quickly turn back to normal as the source asks what she's seen. She tells him she's seen his demise, and I gotta love the accent she's putting on for this. It's just like a little Shakespeare-y.
A little bit.
In that it's like a heightened dramatical sort of thing. Actually, it's a little closer to like a mid-Atlantic, because it's not quite British. Mm-hmm. And it's not all that American, but it is very, like, in between.
And it's very precise.
Oh, her diction is awesome.
Yeah.
My choir director would love her.
Yes. The source cannot believe that he could have a demise, you know. But she reminds him that her visions are more powerful and more accurate than the oracles were.
Which means the oracle was just around for eye candy.
Yeah.
And also, potted plants, anyone? Anyway, he can't handle the fact that the charmed ones have more power than he does, so he decides he needs to get more power.
The seer tells him that the power he seeks, which is called the Hollow, has been banished for all eternity and could, you know, kill everyone.
Like, everyone.
Everyone.
The source is like, you know what? Fuck it. I'ma do it. As long as it destroys the charmed ones.
The seer, not so much happy with that.
Yeah, she's seeing a bad pattern emerging.
Yeah, she is not all in on that one.
No, and we go to opening credits.
We do indeed. Now, according to the opening credits, it seems we do get both Cole and Daryl this episode.
Yay.
Very excited. We get some awesome transition shots where we see shots of bridges that we haven't had before, as well as a couple of shots of the Triangle Building. And the song playing on Netflix is a song called Lonely Child by a band called Slok. S-L-O-K. I did find out what I think is their Facebook page. And apparently the band is just one Italian guy named Alessandro Russo.
That's interesting.
Yeah. It's an interesting song, too. So I was like, I need to look this up.
Yeah. I wasn't all that partial to it.
Yeah. I didn't say I liked it. I just said it was interesting.
That's fair.
No. Anyway.
Piper and Leo are sitting at the dining room table.
Piper is in the same outfit as the Vision from before. Leo is in a gray sweater with lines of black and white across the chest and on the sleeves as detail, with his sleeves pushed up, and they are paired with khaki pants, so we don't actually see that at this time, but, you know, I know it from later.
Mm-hmm. Piper slides a sheet of paper over to Leo. It looks to be a last will and testament, so a nice legal document that just details how you want all of your stuff to be distributed when you die.
Yep.
And if you don't have one when you die, then your shit goes into, like, probate.
Yeah.
And then it takes fucking forever to deal with.
Yeah, and if you have anybody that you want your stuff to go to, just make the will. Just do it. It's good.
Mm-hmm.
Like...
Yeah, there's, like, templates up online you can get. They're free.
Yeah.
Most of them.
Yeah, the templates are. You'd have to still go to a lawyer and do all that, but... I feel like you could too much.
Have the person who's going to be your beneficiary sign and then take it to... Or, like, sign in front of...
like a notary?
A notary or something.
Yeah.
Just to show that this is official, like, this person was here, they signed it. Kind of deal.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that might be not quite as solid as going to a lawyer and having one drafted, but... I feel like it would at least expedite the process a little bit.
Yeah. I don't know.
And
I'm not a legal person.
It doesn't matter how old you are. I mean, you might as well, when you have assets to distribute.
That's the biggest thing, is if you have assets. Like, for me, I don't have a will, but that's because, like, I just have stuff. I don't have assets. Like, I don't have a car in my name. I don't have a house. I don't have anything in my name. Even my phone isn't in my name. Like, I don't have anything in my name. Yeah. So I don't necessarily need to have a will. But, like... all of my stuff, if I die, it goes to my parents.
Yeah, but,
and
like,
if
you
my
could
parents
leave a
go
note
before
for them.
me, it goes to my brother.
Yeah.
So, like...
Yeah, but, you can do an informal sort of will. Like, here's a note, if I die, give this shit to this person, this shit to this person, this shit to this person.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, that kind of deal. Like, your pets, or your... I don't know. Yeah,
can I just say, though, please do not leave your shit to pets, because there still has to be an actual person that is taking care of said pet. And they are the ones who get the money.
This is why parrots and tortoises have to be included in your will.
Yeah.
Well, not have to, but, like, you have to have a plan for where they're gonna go when
Right,
you kick it.
Right, but what I'm saying is not don't forget to will your pets to somebody. I'm saying do not leave your will to your pets. Like, don't leave all your shit to the dog, all right? Because there still has to be a person taking care of said dog. You can leave all of your stuff to that person and say, as part of this, you get this because you have to take care of my dog.
Wasn't there...
But...
I feel like there was a Kirk Cameron movie with a Saint Bernard where this kooky old dude left everything to the dog.
I don't know.
It was one of those movies in kind of the vein of Blank Check, where it was like a kid's fantasy of what would happen if you had a shit ton of money.
Oh, man.
So naturally, there was a ball pit and a slide, as I recall. But I need to find this movie again because I want to watch it, even though it has Kirk Cameron in it.
Yeah, I stopped caring about anything that man did once he went crazy.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah. What was he in that was decent? Some
Growing
show?
Pains.
Oh, he was in Growing Pains?
Yeah.
Because when there's someone else.
No.
Maybe my brain just retroactively edited him out.
Yeah. He was in Growing Pains. And then he started going crazy on that show.
Of course.
That's actually why, because I believe toward the end of that, he was supposed to get married or something, and he was like, I can't do that, and blah, 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 and they got her fired, and it was a whole big thing. Yeah. But we're not going to tangent on Growing Pains. Let's get back to this show, shall we?
Let's. Anyway,
okay.
Leo wonders why he has to think about a will right now, and Piper reminds him that the Source has already killed one of them. They want to be prepared should anything like that happen again.
She tells him that he should be honored that they're leaving him everything if they die. And then Phoebe and Cole run in.
Phoebe, of course, same outfit as before. Now we can see that her shirt also shows off her belly button because the buttons end like 3 inches up. And she's wearing a large orange flower necklace.
Yeah. It's like a big, like, acrylic flower. It was very large.
Yes.
Cole is in a blue long-sleeved turtleneck and black pants. I don't know why, but I enjoy that they keep putting him in turtlenecks.
It'd be funnier if he were a vampire.
Yes. But, like, it's just funny to me that it's like, he's no longer evil. We'll just cover him from head to toe.
I mean, at least they're well-fitted.
Very true. They do fit him well.
Anyway, Phoebe tries to say something, but Leo asks Piper why she thinks he's going to outlive her.
Piper reminds him that he is literally an angel, so he wins most likely to survive. Which, you know, this totally means something bad is going to happen.
Later. Yeah.
Because, you know, foreshadowing is a thing.
Yeah.
Tell the dude that he's going to survive and he's going to outlive you. Something tells me he gets hurt this episode.
Yeah.
Just an inkling. Just a skosh of a thought in my brain.
Anyway, Phoebe tries to say something again. She's holding up a piece of paper. Notebook paper this time, not A4. As Piper tries to get Leo to sign the A4 in front of her. And then Cole does a 2 pinkies in either side of his mouth whistle to get their attention.
I wish I could
everyone
do that.
jumps.
I can't do that.
I can't do that either.
I can't. Like, I can whistle.
This morning I could barely
can't.
whistle to begin with. And that was just to get the dog's attention.
Yeah. Like, I can do a normal whistle, but, like, I can't do the stick my fingers in my mouth to whistle thing. That just doesn't work for me.
Yeah, the acoustics of my mouth are very difficult.
Yeah.
Anyway.
The whistling absolutely works, and Phoebe is finally able to tell them that she's nailed the Source vanquishing spell.
She hands Piper the piece of paper and says that they just need to draw the magic from the entire Halliwell line.
Piper realizes that might actually give them enough power to vanquish the Source.
And Leo offers to tell the others and orbs out without signing the paper.
Yeah. Phoebe says that a will is morbid. Piper tells her that it's very responsible and that she's very happy that Prue had one, or they'd still be dealing with lawyers.
Very true.
She then turns to Cole with a no offense.
And then he replies that
best
he's
reply.
Come to terms with his evil past.
Which was the best reply.
It was good.
Ever. Phoebe says that no one is going to die anytime soon as she places a hand on Cole's back.
And then has a premonition of a demon with a half-burnt face throwing a fireball at her, but Cole jumping in front of it.
She comes out of the premonition. Cole asks if she's okay. She says she just has the hiccups and makes a hiccup sound. Now, if you don't know what the hiccups are, I envy you. I want to know what everyone's hiccup remedy is. Please email me. Let me know, because I know what mine is.
Spoonful of sugar.
Yep. Spoonful of sugar on the tongue and then down a glass of water.
Yeah, I usually just drink stuff.
There's one that my aunt used to do. I think I've told this story before. There's one that my aunt used to do, which was she'd look you dead in the eyes and go, if you hiccup again, I'll give you $5. No, $10.
Yeah, that's
and then you wouldn't be able to do it. And it was just magical.
No. I've heard about that. If you consciously focus on it. Because apparently the neural default is actually hiccuping. And once you focus on it, it stops. Which, fucking brain shit.
Yeah.
God fucking damn the brain.
Yeah. But it doesn't, like, it's one of those where it almost always works. But you can't do it to yourself.
Yeah.
That's the most obnoxious part. Is you can't just be like, okay, I know if I just focus on this, it'll stop.
I wonder if you could, if you were gonna videotape it. Like, if you got out your phone and put it on selfie setting, and you're like, I need to record a video of myself hiccuping. I wonder if it would stop then.
I don't know. I've never tried that.
Because goodness knows, whenever you try to video the dog doing anything, they always stop doing it the second before you hit record, or like the second you hit record,
Yep.
and then you can't record it because they're not doing it anymore.
Yep.
Because it's a law of the universe.
Yep. I mean, heck, at this point, I might try that next time I get the hiccups.
Yeah.
We'll see. But yeah, I'm not kidding though. I want to know. Email us. Let us know. Or tweet at us. Facebook message. Whatever. Let us know what your remedy is for hiccups.
Wasn't the guy who had the Guinness World Record for length of hiccups like years?
I don't know.
Like decades of having the hiccups?
Maybe. I don't know.
Like, what when he's sleeping, did it just continue? Could he not sleep? I mean, that's a long time. You died before you went without that much sleep.
Mm-hmm.
But damn.
Yep. Anyway,
Phoebe
asks to see Piper in the kitchen, fake hiccuping on her way out. And we
they
see
actually
them
sound decently convincing. They're not, like, clearly real, but they don't sound that fake.
Yeah.
Anyway, we see them walk in through the closed kitchen door, closes again behind them, and Piper says that with or without the source, and especially if she's going to start a family, which is a phrase I hate when you're already fucking married, they need to have a will.
Yeah, can I just say...
To have kids. You want to have kids. You want to grow your family. You don't want to start your family.
Yeah.
Having children does not mean you suddenly have a family.
Exactly.
Unless you're completely unmarried and you're doing it by yourself.
Even then...
If you're, like, completely single, if you don't have a support system, that's starting a family.
Yes.
But if you have, like, a family, like a found family, or you're married, or, like, you're in a polycule or whatever, like, that's not starting a family. It's making it bigger.
Exactly.
Adding to it.
You have a family.
Yeah.
You and Blue are family.
Yeah.
That's a thing.
Mm-hmm.
So if you were to have a child even by yourself, you still have the dog, you would not be starting a family.
Yeah.
Just putting that out there.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying. Anyway.
Mini rant over.
Yes. Phoebe says that she doesn't want to talk about the will, but about the premonition she just had, but she wants to keep said premonition from Cole.
Piper, of course, wonders why she doesn't want to tell Cole. Phoebe's like, yeah, he dies in it.
Yeah, I'll bet.
And he gets killed by a demon with half a face.
Yeah.
So we need to figure out who the fucker is and vanquish him.
Piper thinks that the source may have sent the demon and they might need Cole to ID him, but Phoebe is worried that Cole would want to protect her and he can no longer fend off a fireball because he's, human now.
Now, I will say that the premonition did cut out pretty fucking quick.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't see him blow up. You just see him take the fireball.
Mm-hmm.
So just keep that in mind, guys.
Yep.
Anyway, she knows that Cole isn't the kind of person to sit on the sidelines, and since the attack happens in the attic, she just needs to keep him out of the house until she can ID the demon. That's it.
Yeah. Piper says that it's her relationship, so it's her call, and she'll let Paige know what's up. Now, here's my question. She knows that this premonition happened in the attic, so why does she have to keep him out of the house all day? Especially since, spoiler, we'll find out that this premonition happens at night. Why does she have to keep him out of the house all day?
No idea. No reason. They just didn't want to write any more lines for him.
So confused by so many things that happened.
Honestly, it's probably just a plot consideration, because as we'll find out, the B plot, or is this the C plot? I don't know. I don't really know script analysis yet.
Yeah. We get a story with him because he's not in the house, and I totally understand.
No, we don't.
Well, I mean, kind of.
No, it wasn't because he wasn't in the house.
Well, true.
Whatever. Whatever.
Anyway.
I think they just couldn't dedicate enough time, other than, like, a couple of interactions with him, to his feelings on the subject. Because they knew there was other shit to do. Like this, where we jump to South Bay Social Services and see Paige, Daryl, and a blonde woman in a room.
Mm-hmm. Paige looks to be in the same outfit as the earlier Vision, but she's wearing a tan jacket over top. Daryl is in a black suit with a dark purple shirt and a purple tie with a purple and white diamond pattern on it. It's very nice. The woman, who gets the name Carolyn Selden on IMDb, but I don't think she actually gets a last name ever mentioned in the show,
Nope.
is wearing a sweater in shades of purple over a white t-shirt. The actress is Camilla Ranson. She only has 11 acting credits between 1996 and 2015.
And she's definitely just had a Botox appointment on
She
her
has
upper
very
lip.
large lips.
On her upper lip.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Anyway, Paige and Daryl are talking with her about getting her son back in her custody. Despite her past, she's apparently been clean and sober with a steady job at a police station, no less, for 2 years now. And they have a hearing to go to later.
Yeah.
Paige's phone then rings, and she excuses herself to go answer it. It's Piper, who's whispering and telling her about the demon from Phoebe's premonition.
Paige asks why she's whispering. It's that little moment of like, I know why I'm whispering. Why are you whispering? Which I think is very funny. And we cut to the manor as Phoebe and Cole walk into the foyer.
Although I will say, the best way to get someone on the other end of the line to whisper is for you to start whispering.
This is true. Mm-hmm. Phoebe is telling Cole that Piper's car is making a weird noise and is asking him to bring it to the mechanic. Piper then calls to her, asking if the thing was a day thing or a night thing. Phoebe says it was a night thing, and Cole kind of figures out what's going on.
Yeah. He knows that nothing is wrong with Piper's car, but that Phoebe wants him to leave the house without an explanation. She asks for just a couple of hours, no questions, promises to tell him later, then gives him a quick kiss, and he leaves.
She says that she loves that man, as Piper tells Paige that she needs to come home. And this is the first time that we've gotten a really clear look at Holly's wrist tattoo. Like, we saw a glimpse of it in the last episode, but this time it is much easier to see. Mm-hmm. They are no longer covering it up.
Yeah.
And it makes me very happy. I like it when they don't cover the girls' tattoos.
Yeah. Anyway, we cut back to Paige, who says that she promised Carolyn she'd be at the hearing that's going on that day, and Piper tells her to get home as soon as she can. Because, hey, it was a night thing.
Exactly.
She agrees, hangs up. Daryl and Carolyn come out of the room.
He says that they'll meet Paige outside the courtroom at 3 p.m. Carolyn asks if everything is okay. Paige says that it's peachy and that she needs to relax. She'll have her son by tonight. Carolyn calls her an angel, and they hug.
Oh, I'm only half a one. We then get a shot of a chessboard. A very empty chessboard. By very empty, I mean there's not a lot of pieces left. Before we see a woman in white. She is sitting, eyes closed, hands barely touching together, and has a goddamn halo.
She does indeed. Now, the IMDb credits her as Angel Guardian. She is played by Caprice Benedetti.
Which is actually a really good name for an angel guardian.
She was born in 1965 in Seattle, Washington, and she's got 38 acting credits between 1993 and 2017. We see a man in black with a shock of blonde hair. He's annoyed because she's not making a move on the chessboard. IMDb credits him as Demonic Guard. He is played by Lawrence Smiglies. He was born in 1958 in Hartford, Connecticut, and he only has 11 acting credits between 1988 and 2016. From now on, we shall just call them Good and Evil, because it's so much easier.
Yeah, and he doesn't have horns.
That is true. He doesn't have horns.
We see there's a fire pit nearby and that the chessboard is floating. She opens her eyes and asks him if he's mad because good is winning. And he says he's just bored watching her think.
She tells him that patience is a virtue, and he says he's been patient for 3,500 years.
Yep. She points her finger at the board and a piece, I think it's the queen?
I don't remember which piece it was, if I'm being honest.
Or a bishop. It was a tall one. It was a tall boy. Or possibly lady. It orbs.
Gender neutral. It's a chessboard. Just gender neutral.
Boy.
That's B-O-I for those in the know.
B-O-I.
Yeah,
Anyway, it orbs from one square diagonally across a few to another. She's like, "You happy?" And so he moves a finger, and a piece from his side move and smashes the piece she just moved
into, pieces.
like wizard chess, except the pieces itself don't actually move.
Yeah. She frowns, and he's all like, "Now who's winning?" And then the source flames in via the fire pit. Good goes to stand next to Evil, telling the source that he needs to leave immediately because this place is an ancient burial ground.
The source is, of course, well aware of this, and Evil, recognizing the source, where Good is not, tells him, with respect, he's not supposed to be here.
The source asks if he's forgotten which side he's on. Good says that there are no sides because the agreement was that they would protect all magic. The source then manifests his little
Fire
ringy ropey thing and flings it at Good, vanquishing her. Her halo,
This is a great effect.
falls to the ground with an audible sound.
It like
spins
glass.
a little bit, and then is the last thing to disappear.
Yeah, but once it rests on the ground, then it
Just
deglows and
Yeah.
it's gone.
Yeah.
Like, not like there's a inert glass ring on the floor. There's nothing.
yeah.
And it's a really cool effect.
It was
I
a
love
really, really cool effect.
Anyway.
The source says that the agreement has been revoked. And then this, I don't know why, but I think this is my favorite moment of Evil on Evil.
Yeah.
Our evil dude yells, "Die!" and
that-
throws an electric bolt at the source.
Like force lightning.
which makes him fall
Source
to the
lightning.
ground. Yes, source lightning. It makes him fall to the ground, and when he stands back up, his hood has flipped back to reveal his
Does he
mutilated
stand up or
face.
does he rise?
I don't remember. He gets up, whatever. It shows off his face, which is the same face from Phoebe's premonition. Dun dun dun.
Yeah, and there's also like a line down the middle of his face that has some like tribal looking.
Yeah, they're tribal-esque markings.
they're
kind of runic.
There's some temporary tattoos.
Well, yes, but they're a little bit runic.
Yeah, they're also extremely simple and not all over his face.
Correct.
The evil says that the Hollow's power is too great. It's a threat to them all. But the source is like, bitch, that's what I need. And so he throws him across the room to hit a wall before he goes over to a large door. And he, like, struggles telekinetically to open it.
Yeah, he's like using some sort of magic, not his actual hands, and he's having a hard time. But eventually there is a bright light, and we see a rectangular box with dots like poked into it.
Holes poked, I should say, not dots.
Yeah, holes poked into it that show light peeking out from the box, which is floating in the middle of this room. The source makes it float over to him. He then walks over to Evil, who begs the source not to use the hollow because it consumes powers. The source, of course, opens said box, and millions of little black balls fly into the demon through his eyes, nose, and mouth.
Like evil flies.
Right into his face.
Or like demonic soot sprites.
Yeah. And there's a funny little moment where when the light goes out from the box, we can see the wires inside the box.
Yeah, there's like a little LED light bulb or something in there. A very, very bright one.
It was very funny, though, because, like, it was so obvious to see the wires. I was like, really?
It's a good practical effect when the box is closed, though.
Yeah.
Because, like, there's no wires on the outside. It's battery operated, obviously.
It was a very good practical effect, but they did not do any sort of cover-up of the fact of it was a practical effect, because you could see the wires. It was just very funny. Anyway, Source closes the box, says that Evil can now consume powers and give them to him.
Yeah.
You take them, give them to me. Thank you very, very much. We jump to Piper and Phoebe in the attic, looking through the Book of Shadows. Phoebe says that they've found a demon with half a body, but no demon with half a face.
I wonder which half of body.
Piper tries to bring up Cole, but is shot down, and tells Phoebe to keep looking while she goes to get coffee.
And, of course, the second Piper leaves the screen. Not even the room. She's just off screen. Evil appears. Phoebe calls for Piper. Evil throws an electric bolt at Phoebe.
She is thrown against a mirror, which smashes into pieces as she falls to the floor.
Piper then runs in and tries to blow him up. He, of course, doesn't blow up. He kind of just, white noises.
Yeah, a little bit.
He just white noises and says, thank you. And so Piper spots a dagger on a table, runs for it. Evil, of course, blows up a sewing machine on the table, presumably.
Yeah.
And she grabs it and throws it at him, and it, of course, naturally gets stuck right in the bastard's neck.
Right in his neck.
Vanquishes him in a blast.
The black balls stick around for a moment in the shape of him before they fly away sounding like bees.
Mm-hmm.
It was very...
Bees or flies or something.
Yeah, it was very buzzy. Piper asks Phoebe if she saw that, but Phoebe does not answer, and instead falls onto her stomach, showing that there are large pieces of mirror stuck in her back.
Yep.
And we go to commercial break. Dun, dun, dun.
We come back. It's still in the attic a few moments later. Leo pulls some very obviously plastic mirror shards out of Phoebe's back.
They're very large, though.
They are very large.
Stupid large.
And they've got some nice fake blood on them, but when he drops them into the little metal bowl, they sound like plastic.
Yeah.
Because, they couldn't have a practical effect where it was, at least not like dulled edge mirror glass or something.
Yeah.
Like maybe you just barely beveled the edges to make it look like it's still sharp, but it's, somewhat safe.
Yeah.
But no, they couldn't do that, so it's plastic. And it sounds like it. Anyway, he starts to heal her, and Piper's wondering why it's taking longer than normal, but of course, this is because she almost died.
Mm-hmm. She comes back to consciousness, asks what happened. Piper explains that there was a very mean demon that she was able to kill, but that something else got away.
No.
She then hands Leo a vase, tells him to throw it. He tentatively throws it in the air. She tries to freeze it, but it smashes to the floor. Piper walks over to the Book of Shadows, starts flipping pages as Leo says that thing must have absorbed her powers.
Piper then turns to a page in the Book of Shadows that reads, Guardians of the Hollow. It was literally the next page in the book. And she's like, hey, that's him. That's the dude.
Yep.
So Leo goes into exposition time to let everyone know that the Hollow is something that consumes all magic, good or evil, and both sides agreed to guard it.
He goes on to say that it can't be vanquished, and when it was last released, eons ago, good and evil had to join forces and use their strongest magic just to contain it.
Phoebe wonders who let it out, and Piper...
Who?
Yeah. Who let the Hollow out?
Piper says that it had to have been the source, and Leo agrees that he must have been desperate enough. Piper realizes that it's not going to stop with just her power, and it will come back for Phoebe and Paige. Phoebe tells her to see if the demon with half a face is in the Book of Shadows, even though they've already looked for him in there, and Leo realizes that they can't use their powers against the Hollow because it will just, steal them. Piper says they can use potions instead. Leo tells them to get Paige for the power of 3, and he orbs out to check with the elders.
Again.
Cut
to Paige outside the courtroom. Daryl's standing beside her. Carolyn isn't there, and they're both very worried about her. At this point, Paige's phone rings. She answers she hopes it's Carolyn, but no, it's Phoebe. And this is the point where I notice how weirdly Paige is holding her phone. Only with the tips of her fingers. And this is a smaller phone, so that looks like she's holding a sandwich.
Yeah,
to her face.
Yeah, a little bit.
It's very
it's a tiny little flip phone.
It's very pantomime-esque. It's kind of a thick phone, though. Like it's a Motorola or something.
Yeah, but it's a flip phone.
Yeah, is it?
Yep.
I feel like hers isn't.
It's a flip phone.
Okay, whatever. Anyway, it's just like, even when I had one of those, you curl your fingers around it a little bit and you talk, but you don't do a C.
Yeah.
She's doing an ASL C and holding her phone like that.
Yeah.
It's a little weird.
It's a little weird. Anyway, she starts to ask for more time and then stops, listens for a second, and then says she's on her way. She hangs up and tells Daryl that she has to go. Daryl reminds her that she's the only reason that Carolyn got a second chance, and she tells him that there's a big demonic emergency and she needs him to postpone the hearing for a couple of hours. He, of course, tries to say that it's not that easy, but she asks him to pull some strings because he's the only one who can.
He says he'll try, and she also asks him to keep trying to find Carolyn. We cut over to the kitchen of the manor where Piper and Phoebe are busy making a potion. Phoebe hands Piper an owl feather. Fortunately, it's not a spotted owl feather.
Mm-hmm.
And Piper wonders if she jinxed them by making a will.
Now,
where there's a will, there's a way.
Indeed. I'm fairly certain that I've explained jinx before because I remember talking about the clothing company, so I'm not going to do that. Phoebe says that she now thinks that it was a very smart idea And then Cole walks in. Phoebe starts to be a little bit weird about having him back, but Piper says they don't have time to be evasive because they need his help. Cole says it's obvious that they're making a potion and he wants to know what's going on. Phoebe then finally tells him about the premonition that she had of him jumping in front of a fireball to save her, and he gets upset that she kept it from him.
Piper then breaks in to say that they need to talk about the demon. So Cole asks what he looked like, and Phoebe said he was creepy, half a face. Good side had tribal markings, a bit like... Now let me remind you. These tribal markings, quote-unquote tribal, were down the middle of his face.
Yep. There was like one on his cheek.
And it was essentially a line with some various, like, crescents and other lines.
Like I said,
intersecting.
It was very runic. It was much more runic than it was tribal.
Also, it was very small and contained.
And sparse.
And so when Phoebe says it's like Cole supplies Balthazar, and she's like, yeah. I'm like, do you fucking remember what Balthazar looks like?
I know, right? Like, I'm sorry, what now?
Like, also, this was the season, correct me if I am wrong, that we had the Balthazar inverted dude. So it's not like you haven't seen what Balthazar and a Balthazar knockoff look like.
And it's nothing like this. But Phoebe asks if Cole knows who he is and if he works for the Source, and Cole gets to have exposition time.
He's like, oh, no, the demon doesn't work for the Source. He is the Source.
He says that his face was disfigured in the battle that brought him to power, and that only upper-level demons have ever seen it. So you know that he has.
Yeah.
He's like, listen. You're a moron. Not a demon. The actual Source. He's coming for you.
Yeah. Anyway, Piper mentions that he's released the Hollow. Phoebe's like, yeah, it's already attacked and taken Piper's powers. And Cole's like, oh, we need to figure out how to beat the Source without your powers. And right at that moment, Piper's potion explodes in a puff of smoke. And she's like, yeah, we're working on that.
Yeah, already on it. It was very fun. Like, it was, I think, the most fun that I've seen. Because, like, you see the smoke covering her face as the explosion poofs. And then she just stops and deadpans. Already on it. It was so lovely. It was just beautiful.
Yeah, we cut back to the underground cave with the Source and the Seer. The Source is, of course, having fun with Piper's powers.
Which is actually, like, a really cool image of a vase, like, exploding and the pieces being frozen in place.
Now, I will say, the effect of having the thing explode always looks good. But once it's frozen and you're doing a fake, like, CGI pan around it, looks way worse. It's good.
It's good,
but
but
it's
not
very
great.
Obviously computer generated.
Oh, yeah.
Because the smoke is way too fucking, like, see-through and smooth.
Yeah.
And also patchy at the same time. It's weird.
Yeah.
It's just, like, clear
but
that
for
it's
2002, it was a good effect.
Yeah. The vase is clearly 3D. The smoke is oddly 2D within it, which it's supposed to be a cloud. So that's weird.
Yeah. Anyway.
Reminds me of a certain video game where you're a velociraptor. There's like a setting where because you can only see so far, and so as you approach things come out of the fog, but depending on how you set it, the fog renders as 2D.
Interesting.
Because this is actually contemporaneous with this episode. It was around the same time. Because I remember playing it when I was a child. It was on the big, colorful Mac computers.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Anyway, the Seer is worried about repercussions from the Hollow being released. The Source says he won't stop until he has all of the Charmed One's powers, and he controls the Hollow.
For now, bitch, says the Seer. And she's like, the more magic it absorbs, the stronger it becomes. And the more you take from it, the more it'll corrupt you. You know, because I could say a thing about absolute power, but you're not gonna fucking listen to me. She warns him that it will eventually consume all things, including him. He's like, how about I turn you into ash?
Yeah. She bows her head. He summons a Darklighter, and this Darklighter is played by Robert Madrid. He has 42 acting credits between 1986 and 2016, and we actually saw him back in episode 204 as one of the roadies. It was the devil music episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Darklighter kneels down, asking how he can be of service. And the source says he wants the charmed ones. And Darklighter's like, sir, my arrows, they don't, kill witches. And he's like, yeah. Picks up the box with the hollow and says, oh, but they do kill white lighters. And he tells the Darklighter to kill the charmed one's white lighter so he can't heal them. And then he goes over and he opens the box.
The hollow enters the Darklighter, again, through the eyes, nose, and mouth. The source asks for a little gift when he's done, and we jump back over to the kitchen at the manor.
The girls and Cole are all there, and Paige is putting 5 large crystals on the floor to make a magic circle. So why did we only see 4 before? Or was it 5?
It was 5.
Okay, but why were there 4 strands?
Because one was behind him.
Yeah. Anyway, Piper pours a white liquid into another white liquid, and it turns purple, and I want to know what chemical reaction they got to do that.
Uh-huh. She's pleased, as that means that the potion has the exploding power.
Mm-hmm.
Dun, dun, dun. Nice to know that exploding power is purple.
Yep.
Kind of like it. Phoebe is confident about her source vanquishing spell, with Cole and Piper warning her not to be cocky about it. Because there's a difference between being cocky and being confident, and it is a fine line.
Yes.
Very fine line.
A fine semantic line, covered in jellyfish. Anyway, as Piper puts her potion into bottles, Leo orbs in, says that the source unleashed the hollow. And they're like, we
already
were
on
there?
that train.
Weren't they fucking there when he left?
Yeah. You know. Yeah.
Whatever. Anyway, she mentions that it took her powers, which he was also kind of there for, and then wonders if he found out anything else.
He tells them that both good and evil need to join forces and read the inscription on the box where the hollow is kept, which will put it back into its crypt and return her powers.
Piper is, of course, happy to know that there is a way to banish the hollow. Phoebe thinks it's only good news if the source brings the box with him, and they can find an evil being willing to help. Paige turns around and cheekily tells Cole it's too bad he's not still evil.
He says they need to take it one step at a time. And they need to vanquish the source before they worry about putting Pandora back in the box. Have I explained Pandora before?
Yes, you have.
Okay.
Because I believe we had some
the Pandora's jar instead of Pandora's box?
Something like that? I forget what it was.
Okay.
I mean, we had the 7 deadly sins and all.
Yeah.
There's definitely been a Pandora's box reference before.
Okay. I like the idea of Pandora's jar better, but that's just me.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
Well, you know, one is a door, not a door. One it's a jar.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, the phone rings and Paige answers it. It is, of course, Daryl, and Paige, you know, it's serious, so she kind of, like,
walks out
to take the call. Mm-hmm. Apparently, Carolyn's ex found her, and she was in the hospital, but has no internal bleeding. We see her with him at the station, and she indeed looks super beat up.
Like, super beat up.
Props to makeup department.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, I mean, kudos to makeup department, not to props.
Yeah. Daryl says that he's got every available officer out looking for the ex, and that he was able to push the hearing back by a little bit, but it's not going to look good for Carolyn.
Why wouldn't it look good for Carolyn? Like, she got beat up.
But if they can't find the ex to prove that she got beat up, she just looks like she's gone back to her bad ways.
Yeah, but
it's my assumption.
It's not needle marks. She's not acting erratic. She was attacked. I don't understand the whole thread of she was in the hospital, so she had to have the hearing pushed back because she was literally beat up. Like, if she got mugged, would they do that?
My only assumption, and this is just an assumption because TV, is that it would look bad on her because she couldn't protect herself, therefore how could she protect her children? It's the only thing I can think of. She couldn't protect herself from her ex, how could she protect her children?
I mean...
Like, literally, that's the only reason I can think of.
It's not a sign of irresponsibility, though, because she couldn't prevent herself from getting fucking railed on.
Yeah.
Like, that's not the thing that gets you... Like, you getting your ass beat to hell does not lose you custody of your children. What lost her custody of her children was her drug abuse.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they knew she was in an abusive relationship, clearly. But, of course, that didn't excuse the drug abuse.
Yeah.
So the drug abuse is the only thing they should be worrying about.
We will touch on this again in a little bit.
I just think it's
I have many thoughts on this.
Plot convenience. That's
it. Of course it is.
But it makes
Of course
no
it is.
sense
It's a
on the
total a la convenience
It makes
thing,
no
and-
sense on the outside of it, though.
No, it really doesn't. But like I said, we'll come back to it because there will be another moment in this where I will be adamant on the insanity of things. So, Paige sighs, hangs up the phone. Leo walks in saying that she's needed in the kitchen. Paige starts to go, but then stops and reminds him that she has her charges too. Just then, the Darklighter smokes in, points his arrow at Leo, shoots, and it hits Leo in the stomach. Cole walks in as Paige calls for the crossbow.
Of course, the Darklighter absorbs her powers because he's got the hollow in him.
Yep.
And Piper and Phoebe walk in. Piper naturally runs over to Leo. The Darklighter then points the crossbow at Paige, so Phoebe tells her to watch out. She then ducks very slowly behind the outcropping of the wall, and the arrow hits the molding. As Phoebe,
It hits the wall, and it makes me wonder, like...
no, it hits the molding.
No,
on the
but
archway.
I'm just saying, like, it hits the wall...
Yeah, but the molding on the wall.
Sure. But it hits the wall.
The molding! It's the molding, damn it! You made me wake up the dog.
I didn't make you do nothing. You could have stopped yelling. It hits...
Technically, he was already awake anyway.
Exactly. It hits not her. It doesn't go past where she was. It hits to the left.
Yeah.
So was he just a bad shot?
He's a stormtrooper. He's exactly as good a shot as he needs to be.
Yeah.
I will remind you that the first line in any Star Wars movie, chronologically, referring to stormtroopers, calls them precise.
Yep. And then they don't hit anything because...
They never hit anything.
They're not supposed to. They've been told not to. They need these people alive. Sorry.
No,
we'll go on stormtrooper
that's the-
tangents later.
That's the, kiss-ass excuse, I guess? I'm not sure what the term would be. That's the in-universe explanation. The out-of-universe explanation is because, oh, well, you know, it would be bad if they actually injured the heroes. So we can't have them do that, despite the fact that there's going to be a fucking 1,000 of them. So it just looks like they're bad shots. Mm-hmm. Because plot.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, the arrow hits the wall, or the molding, if you will. And Phoebe throws a potion at the Darklighter. He explodes. The hollow stays behind for a moment in his shape and then flies off, and we go to commercial break.
We come back to Leo, now lying on the living room couch, in a lot of pain. It has suddenly become night. Piper asks Paige to hold Leo's hand. She pulls the arrow through Leo's body.
Because that's how you do it.
Yep.
You don't go backwards, because that just does even more damage.
Yep.
Just make it clean on through.
Yep. He screams in pain, and she places the arrow on the coffee table. And after warning Paige not to touch it, she's also a white lighter.
Right. Now, I love the way that happened, though, is she goes to put the arrow back, and Paige kind of puts her hand out like she's going to grab it to take it from her, and she's like, no, don't touch it. You're a white lighter, too.
Yeah.
Like, it was a nice moment.
Yeah.
Paige wonders why Leo can't just heal himself. Leo says it doesn't work that way. And Piper's like, well, you can just switch powers with Phoebe like you've done before. And he's like, yeah, no, you won't stand a chance if the source shows up and Phoebe doesn't have her power. Explain to me how. Her power is a passive power.
Well, no, the levitation.
Oh, that's right. Piper tells Paige to find anything that might be able to help, like a spell, a potion, or an amulet, and Paige walks into the conservatory where Phoebe and Cole are.
They're all a bit defeated. Paige mentions that the source knows what they're going to do before they do, and Phoebe says that she still has her power, so it's not over yet.
Back in the source's cave, the seer is looking into the future.
She tells him she sees nothing, and he's like, what? She's like, oh, the hollow just eats all of it. Yep. Fucking all of it.
Yep.
He asks why he still needs her if there's no future, and she's like, dude, find another fucking way. Put the hollow back. Yeah. He's like, I'm not gonna stop until I've killed them all.
She then begs for forgiveness and says that she will serve him until the end. He tells her to guard the hollow while he goes to find another demon to recruit, and he flames out.
Apparently, he can't just fucking summon one like he did before.
He can't apparently summon a demon, but he could summon a Darklighter.
Huh.
Yeah. The seer touches the box, and her eyes glow white because she's looking into the future.
Yeah. Back at the manor, Piper walks into the living room with a glass of water. She kind of pauses when she sees Leo not moving, but then he starts breathing again, and she kind of sighs of relief. And he's like, oh, hey, hi, from the couch. She kneels beside him, gets him to drink some water, and he jokes that she picked the wrong beneficiary for the will, tells her to leave before the source shows up.
She says she's not going to leave him, and she's not going to let him die.
We cut to Cole opening the closet in Phoebe's room and pulling something out of a coat pocket.
Phoebe walks in and opens a dresser drawer, saying she's looking for her potion book.
Then notices he's holding a tiny black box and asks about it.
He says that he's been waiting for the right time to give it to her and opens the small
tiny
box.
black box to not reveal a plain recording device, but a diamond ring. Black box?
Sure. It was a little bit of a stretch, that one.
Anyway, he's like, it's not Graham's ring, but it's not cursed, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully. She says that it's not the time. He says it's the perfect time, and he takes the ring out of the box and puts it on her finger.
Now, at first glance, this looks like just your basic, like, solitaire type of diamond ring, like a half a carat thing.
Yeah.
But there's actually a little band on the band. There's little tiny. I'm not sure if they're actually going to be like itty bitty diamonds or if it's just like a metal detail. But it's like kind of curling around the band, at least where we can see it. It's like subtle. But
It's
I
a
like
nice
it.
ring. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a nice ring. He puts it on her finger and says that no matter what happens, she'll know that he loves her.
She's like, it's beautiful.
Always know.
She's like, oh, that's beautiful. You gotta go.
Mm-hmm. He says that he's staying. She asks if he wants her to watch him die, and he's like, yeah, if it'll save you.
Mm-hmm. She says she got the premonition to save him, and he reminds her that sometimes her premonitions are just meant to prepare them for what's to come. And then the doorbell rings.
Cut to downstairs as Paige heads for the door. Piper comes out of the living room and stops her, saying it's not a good time for guests. But she's like, it's not guests, I called Daryl. Piper says she's supposed to be helping Phoebe, and Paige is like, yeah, Phoebe doesn't need my help, but someone else does. She goes and opens the door and sees Carolyn with the cuts and bruises all over her face.
Carolyn apologizes to Paige, and Paige asks Daryl to take her to the sunroom. Daryl's like, everything okay? Piper's like, no. Paige says yes. And then Daryl and Carolyn go into the sunroom.
And that's the conservatory, or the wicker room, for anyone paying attention.
Mm-hmm.
They're apparently calling it the sunroom, which they've never called it before, but...
Well, it's Paige.
Yeah.
So maybe she didn't read the blueprints.
Yeah.
She closes the door, and Piper asks if she's out of her mind. We don't have time for other people's problems. Paige is like, I gotta do this, especially if it's the last thing I do. Mm-hmm. And then walks over to Daryl and Carolyn.
Daryl asks what's going on. Paige is like, I don't have time to explain, but I think I can help Carolyn get her son back.
So she asks Carolyn to trust her and to turn away from her. And she does. And she kind of like turns into the corner where there's that hutch in the conservatory.
Yeah.
And then
Paige walks across the room over to the Book of Shadows. Daryl follows her and is like, you're gonna use magic?
She's like, yeah. And then she uses the same spell that she used to make Billy's acne disappear back in like episode 2 or something
of this season.
And tells Carolyn she can turn around now. And indeed, Carolyn turns around and her Botox upper lip is even more obvious. But all the cuts and bruises are gone.
Yeah. Daryl is impressed. Carolyn is, of course, confused as she touches her own face. Good to know that spells work even if her powers don't. Mm-hmm. And Daryl asks, of course, what's going on, since they don't usually use magic unless, there's something seriously wrong. And Paige asks him to just make sure that Carolyn's ex gets put away and that the judge gets to see Carolyn for who she really is.
So Daryl, of course, gives in, walks over to Carolyn, and they leave.
Now, here's my question. I know that if she was in the hospital, they had to have had pictures. Mm-hmm. How do they explain this?
Really good makeup job?
Because, she's in the hospital this morning with cuts and bruises all over her face.
Afternoon, technically.
Whatever. And winds up just a few hours later in court with her face perfect. I'm sorry. What now? How do they explain this? And is she going
really
to make
good makeup job? I don't know.
And we never learn, is she going to make the spell go away so that at the end of that court date when she gets her kids back?
It's not going to matter. We're never going to see Carolyn again.
I know.
I know. But it would be, my only thought is that it would not be suspicious because her face was clean and whatever. It would be suspicious if the hospital tries to get back to her and they're like, wait, we have hospital records that you were at the ER. Were you faking it?
Right.
Yeah. But I don't think it's ever going to come up.
No, it probably won't because TV.
Fun thing, maybe the ex is going to be at that court, sneak in, and then he'll have an outburst and be like, hey, I totally fucking, what are you doing here? I thought you were going to stay away after I saw you earlier. And presumably she has, like, a restraining order or something?
I don't know.
Because if Daryl knows about the abuse, then there must be, like, police records for that, so they must be able to arrest him.
Right, but that's my thing. It's like, okay, they arrest him. How, like, she now looks perfectly fine, which is why I say, like, is the spell only going to cover until she gets her son back in the court, and then magically all the bruises and cuts come back, so that when they go to arrest the ex, I go, see what he did to me? Because this is what I looked like before. I had a really good makeup artist, so I could go to court and not look beat to shit. Mm-hmm. Like, there's just so many questions that don't get answered.
Speaking of makeup jobs in court, didn't we talk about that recently with some neo-Nazi?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Everything comes full circle.
It really does. Anyway, back to the show.
Phoebe and Cole walk in and call for Piper. She, of course, comes in. Cole's like, we have a plan to get your powers back. And Phoebe says that Paige might be able to heal Leo once they do. Phoebe says that the spell to call for a witch's power might be strong enough to call for powers back from the Hollow.
Piper asks Cole to watch Leo, and the girls leave the room. Cole walks into the living room, sits on the coffee table next to Leo,
and then he feels something, gasps, and shimmers out. Well, not even like shimmer.
Not even shimmer. He just kind of disappears.
He kind of blurs out.
Yeah. We cut to the underworld as Cole appears in the Source's cave. He looks around, the seer walks in and tells him not to be afraid. He then spins around, asks who she is and where he is, and she says that he's back in his once and future life, and calls him Balthazar.
Great Arthur ref. She moves closer, he recognizes her, and she tells him she can see the void where his demon half used to exist, saying that it craves to be complete again. He asks how she knew he was alive. She's like, oh, I had a vision of us working together. He's like, yeah, I don't work with evil.
Yeah, I don't work with evil anymore. She tells him that only she can help him save his precious witch and beat the Source.
She tells him that he can take in the Hollow and absorb the Source's power when he attacks. This will, of course,
make him powerless.
Yep. And the witches can vanquish him. So she picks up the Hollow box, and he asks what happens to him after they do that. She says that she and the witches will banish the Hollow back to its crypt, and he'll return to normal.
Cole, of course, wonders if it's a trick, and the seer says that the Source has been corrupted by the Hollow. She says that he cannot be allowed to continue on his path of madness, or it will destroy them all.
Mm-hmm. He then walks across the room, away from her, asking if this is what she saw them doing together. She kind of doesn't answer the question, but tells him he'll never know if the Source isn't stopped. It's his only chance to save his love.
He then walks over to her, she opens the box, and the Hollow enters him via the face holes.
Mm-hmm.
Cut to the manor.
Piper, Phoebe, and Paige are in the Wicker Room, reading the spell to call a witch's power out of the book. The house starts to shake.
It, like, legit, this is the first time where I've been like, is this an earthquake or just the Source showing up? And then the Source flames in and the house kind of stops moving, and I'm like, alright, it was the Source.
Mm-hmm.
It was a nice little kind of nod to that, like, don't forget we're in California kind of moment, you know?
Yeah, they gasp, run into the living room. Paige is like, I thought we called for our powers. They jump off the couch and dive into the foyer to dodge a blast that destroys part of the wall in between the, like, sitting room and the foyer.
Yeah, and it totally destroys a table, which brings our FAQ up to 11 for the season and 60 for the series, because I didn't count the mirror or the sewing machine before.
Sewing machine isn't furniture.
Sewing machine isn't furniture.
Mirror is
debatable.
The
mirror was debatable, but...
If it's a vanity, yes.
Yeah, but it was just a mirror.
Yeah.
It's not really furniture.
If it were secretly a thing that holds jewelry inside it, I would count that as furniture.
Yes, but this was
we didn't see any jewelry get stuck into Phoebe's back, so...
Correct. The Source says that he has their powers, and a few of his own, and then throws a fireball, a ropey thing.
Fire orb.
Yeah, at Piper. She is knocked into the wall under the stairs, shattering the drywall, and falling to the couch below, and we go to the commercial break.
When you get hit with one of those fireballs, then someone has to write your obituary.
Oh, that was painful. Oh.
I liked it. I liked it.
Harsh. We come back from commercial to Phoebe and Paige carrying Piper into the attic.
As we saw before.
Uh-huh.
They put her down. We get a moment that's like so close to being the original
like the Vision.
Phoebe thinks they can still make the plan work and tells Paige to get the crystals. Paige, of course, starts to race across the room, but the source flames
in front of her.
And she stops. And he calls it anticlimactic.
Yeah, he uses some sort of power to fling Paige behind him, making her fly into some cardboard boxes and a mattress.
A very conveniently placed mattress.
Like, what? The things that they have in this attic...
Yeah.
Are so random, and they change all the time. How often do you move shit around in your attic? How often do you just add cardboard boxes and a mattress just in case? I mean, really.
There's definitely no mattress up there, I will tell you that.
Yeah. He tells Phoebe to say hello to Prue for him and holds out a fireball.
Phoebe of course, kicks him in the stomach. She misses the fireball as he falls to the floor, and then Paige grabs the crystals, throws a few to Phoebe, and they place them around the source.
He stands up, saying that Phoebe's power was always the weakest and hardly worth taking, but he'd happily take her life. Paige then puts down the last crystal. The electricity bolts surround him. Phoebe and Paige go back over to Piper, and
the source then calls one of the crystals to his hand using Paige's powers, and the trap disappears. He goes to throw the fireball, but before it can hit Phoebe, Cole shimmers in by the door and runs in front of her. And this is literally the exact vision that Phoebe had before. We just didn't see Cole appear. We just see him run.
So the fireball hits him in the back.
He does the white noisy thing.
Yep, and he absorbs the source's power.
The source, of course, cries out that it's Balthazar. But Phoebe's like, no, that's the Hollow. And then Cole, as the Hollow, throws a fireball at the source.
He tells the girls to say the spell. Phoebe gets a piece of paper out of her pocket, and the girls start reading from it. And Cole continues flinging fireballs as they read the spell, which is... Prudence, Patricia, Penelope, Melinda, Astrid, Helena, Laura, and Grace. Halliwell witches stand strong beside us. Vanquish this evil from time and space.
And the source catches on fire, yells for a bit, and then they almost could have lifted this from a Star Wars movie because it looks like when the Death Star blows up.
Yeah, a little bit. It was a lovely visual explosion.
It's a gorgeous, just ball of fire with a ring expanding around it.
Yeah.
It was beautiful.
It was a very nice...
And there was a brief period where there was a hole in the floor and then it disappears.
Yeah.
And then the seer, right after, just appears holding the hollow box on the other side of the room.
Phoebe immediately asks who she is, and the seer replies that she's someone who just helped save their lives. She then opens the box and recaptures the hollow.
She tells Phoebe to take her hand. Cole tells Phoebe to trust her if they want their powers back, and Phoebe goes over to her.
They say the inscription on the box together.
Which is absurdly short.
Yep.
Abolio exume gaume ta eternius.
The box then floats up in the air, lets off a bright light, and disappears from the attic and returns to its crypt, and we see the lovely doors close on it.
Mm-hmm.
But now there's nobody there to guard it.
Yeah, but also I feel like no one else knows where it is.
Yeah, and I also kind of feel like nobody really had to be there to guard it.
They just had to warn people away.
Yeah.
But, I mean, they kind of needed to be there. It was a bit like Crowley Aziraphale between the two of them. Like, just a little schnicket. Because it's like, these, like, demon, angel,
like, they're not
kind of buds.
They're not friends, but they don't hate each other.
They're playing chess.
Yeah.
It's funny.
It is funny.
They're buds. Like, but they're not
like best friends, but they don't
they're not
hate
like
each
fucking
other.
Soulmates or whatever. Yeah. They're just buds who play chess because they're fucking bored and this is their only job.
Because they've been there for, many
4,000 years.
Yeah.
Or so.
Yeah.
However long the Bible says the earth has been existing.
Let's not even go there. Cut to the living room as Phoebe and Paige run over to Leo.
Paige holds her hands over his wound, tries to heal him, but nothing is happening. So Phoebe tells her to hold Leo's hand and let his power to heal flow through her, because you can tell they were strapped for time in the episode.
Mm-hmm.
So Paige does this and is able to heal him. It goes ridiculously fast, which is also how you know they're strapped for time in this episode.
Yep. He wakes up, Paige is pleased with herself, and then Piper, Cole, and the seer walk in. Piper immediately goes over to Leo.
The seer says that everything should be back where it should be, laments that Balthazar's gone because he would have made a great new source. Cole's like, yeah, too bad.
And Phoebe thanks her for the help. The seer says that she helped them for her own future, not theirs, and Paige asks where the source's powers went.
So naturally, the seer kind of just shrugs and says, into the void, and then disappears.
Piper asks who she was. Cole says she was a very evil person, and Phoebe says that she helped save their lives and kill the source. So she's, kind of cool with it.
Yeah.
Transitional night shot of the city, where we get to see the Triangle building all lit up before we find ourselves in P3. The guy behind the bar hands Leo a plate of snacks.
Like a plate of veggies and salami.
Yeah, it was a lovely crudité platter.
I wouldn't have called it lovely. It was a basic crudité platter that you could have gotten from the grocery store. They just added like some red cabbage as a garnish and just arranged it nicely.
Yeah.
Anyway.
He brings it over to a table where the girls are sitting there giggling. Leo is in a black t-shirt and black pants under a tan jacket. Phoebe is in a denim dress that looks like it was literally made from jeans.
A halter denim dress, and it was made of jeans. Her front were the back pockets.
Yep.
And then there was
just
like
a little bit of lace covering of the boobs over the cleavage area.
Essentially, they just chopped out like the front with the zipper and then sewed it all together.
Yep. Her hair is down. Piper is in a black top that seems to be a little like lacy on the front with like sheer shoulders. Her hair is down. We don't see what she's paired that with. Paige, however, is in a sparkly white tube top and black bottoms. Her hair is in an updo. And she's wearing a necklace thing that looks like a collar and tie combo.
And sparkly.
And it is stupid tiny as well.
Yeah.
Like, I looked at that and went, who thought that was cute? I mean, because that is...
I mean, if we're talking Playboy Bunny, they have, actually nicely sized collars and ties for that, and they fit well. This did not fit well. The collar was way too skinny, and the tie was way too short.
It was a necklace that was a collar and tie. It wasn't a collar and tie. That's the difference.
Yeah.
It was a necklace that was a collar and tie. So the collar was just the front bit of the collar, just enough to hold the tie. And the tie didn't even go down to her boobs.
Nope.
It was just the length of her neck. It was weird. Mm-hmm. Just saying.
Yeah. Leo says the snacks are on the house, which Piper says is easy for him to say. And he tells her that they deserve to celebrate because they vanquished the source.
Paige asks if that means that their destiny is fulfilled. Piper's like, I don't know, but at least that part of the nightmare is over.
And they all raise a toast to Prue. The girls toasting with mineral water and Leo toasting with a beer.
Never toast with water. That's just passé. Needs to at least be sparkling cider.
Okay, well, it's sparkling water.
Yeah, all right, fine. I'll let it go.
Anyway, Leo asks if he and Piper should go home and get started on their future. And she's like, how about we sleep and start that tomorrow night?
Yeah. They walk off as Phoebe and Paige laugh at them.
Piper shoves him off.
Yeah. Cole walks over. He is wearing a red button-down shirt under a black jacket. Phoebe asks if he's okay since it took him a while to come back. And he kind of is weird about that. Like, oh, it did? No, I'm fine.
Yeah, he seems to have lost a little bit of time. Mm-hmm. Or track of it. Paige says that facing death has made her want to face life. And she points out a piece of life over at the bar and goes over to talk to him. And I'm just like, I could not pick that dude out of a lineup if I watched this episode 10 times.
Yeah, nope, he just happened to smile at her.
Have better taste,
like,
Paige.
All right, let's do this.
Paige, you young, you hot, have better standards.
You know what my thought on this was? I'm sorry, isn't Glenn still just, across the bay? Just...
Call Glenn.
Yeah, go get your freak on. Not with some rando at the bar.
Taller piece of life with better cheekbones.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Anyway, Paige leaves. Phoebe asks Cole again if he's okay. He says that he's just tired, and she asks if he's too tired to celebrate.
She says he's her soon-to-be husband and her hero, and she hugs him. And he's like, I'm nobody's hero. Yeah. He closes his eyes, and when he reopens them, they roll up into his head. Fire appears, and they go all black.
And we go to end credits. Dun, dun, dun!
What?
Because if you were paying attention, the seer
said the
void was inside Cole, and then said that the source's powers have gone into the void.
Yeah.
So, with the end credits, we are on to our ratings.
Excellent callback.
It was very nicely done.
Oh boy.
For ratings, I'm giving it 8 out of 10 fiery foreshadowing.
And I'm going to give it 8.5 out of 10 purple potions.
Nice.
Purple power potions.
Yeah. It was an interesting episode, and it sets up for the latter half of the season.
Mm-hmm.
Which is going to be
it was
interesting.
Despite some issues, it was a very well written episode, I think.
Yeah. It sets up what's coming up.
Yeah.
Very nicely.
We're pretty much in one of my favorite story arcs now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's my favorite, but...
Well, yeah, but that's because you hate Cole.
I do hate Cole. He
was very good in this episode.
He was very good in this episode.
And the dynamic between him and Phoebe, like, especially when he realized that she just wanted him out of the house, he's like, yeah, I see right fucking through you.
Yeah. And
that was that was a good bit.
I'm gonna, like I said, is the thing about Cole, for me, the first time I saw this show, he just rubbed me the wrong way from the start, and I just hated him, whatever. And now rewatching it many years later as an adult, I still don't like him, but for different reasons.
Yeah.
Like some of the same reasons, but for different reasons.
Yeah. And I would say I like him less than I originally did when I first saw all of this, or when I last watched all of it. Mm-hmm. But, I'm a different person, so that's to be expected.
Yeah. And I think for me, the reasons that we have coming up will be much more apparent when we get there.
Yeah, obviously.
But I never enjoyed the fact that they made him human.
You mean the source of your dislike?
Yes. I never really enjoyed the fact that they made him human. Because, they
were never going to stay with that.
Exactly.
And it was obvious.
Exactly.
Either he was going to leave the show, or something was going to happen and he wasn't going to be human, or he was... I don't know, any number of things, but they weren't going to let him be human and boring unless something very interesting happened to, as a job or whatever, but they weren't going to do that because they had all those bases covered.
Yeah. There was no way that a relationship between him and Phoebe was going to work with him as human. Mm-hmm. Because he'd been a demon for 100 years. There was no way he was going to be just human again and be okay with it. Mm-hmm. It was just not going to happen.
No,
this
Human
episode,
Again is a song from Beauty and the Beast. He would not be that.
Correct. This episode just kind of solidified that. In he's not the kind of person who's just going to sit around and do nothing, because he didn't do that for a long time. He's not been that kind of person. So, whatever. Anyway, our ratings are done. On to outfits. I liked Piper's main show outfit. It was nice. The last, shirt thing was just...
Yeah, Piper's shirt and her hair were super on point this entire episode. Mm-hmm. She was my fave. Although I did like Phoebe's entire aesthetic.
Yeah, I didn't really care much for either outfit that Phoebe wore this episode, but the denim dress was very unique. I will give it that much.
Man.
Yeah.
I've just seen too many, denim hacks. Where you can, make shit out of denim. And the one thing I did see was, a quilty type thing. And that's fine. But, the stupid 5-gene chair that you're supposed to staple together that never fucking works. Yeah. I loved watching Jenna Marbles do that. Because it's so dumb.
Yep. I mean, seriously.
Sew that shit. You have... stupid girly hacks or whatever, that 5-minute whatever.
Don't know.
They've clearly got access to needle and thread. That'll be way easier and sturdier.
Yeah. And for Paige, I also liked her main show outfit. Mm-hmm. But the tube top... I love
her hair.
The tube top at the end was really cute, but I just could not deal with that necklace thing. Take off the necklace and I liked the last outfit. Yeah.
It was a little awkward.
It was weird, and I was not here for it. But I think that's it. Mm-hmm.
And now it's time for social media stuff.
Yeah, social media.
As per the usual, you can always email questions, comments, to charmedchats@gmail.com.
And you can find all of the links to whatever was mentioned in today's episode at our website, charmedchats.com, which is where you can also find the links to Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, YouTube, Redbubble, and Patreon. Don't forget to join the Discord if you're a patron, and if you were listening in episode 411 and you haven't sent us an email about the secret phrase, you should do that if you want to get into the Discord. Just saying. So we thank you for listening, supporting the show, hanging out with us, dealing with our tangents and loving them. So, until next time.
Sleep tight. Don't let the warlocks bite.
Bye.
Bye.